الحمد لله الذي لا مانع لحكمه ولا ناقض لقضائه والصلاة والسلام على سيد أنبيائه وسند أوليائه وحنا لأعدائه أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الأمين المتين الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. قال الله عز وجل في الشان حبيب الكريم مخبرا وآمرا كريما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد عدد ما في علم الله صلاة دائمة بدوام ملك الله. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the cream of creation, the jewel of creation, our intercessor on the day of judgment, Mujtaba Muhammad Mustafa Wahna Fidah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, upon his family members and our companions. After thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would like to greet one and all with the universal greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, as we all know that we are very close to the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. The holy month of Ramadan is around the corner, and inshallah following week, inshallah, maybe Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, the month of Ramadan will begin. And before we enter the month of Ramadan, we should rectify ourselves. And inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, the next Jum'at al-Mubarakah, I will try to explain the khutbah what Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has given to Sahaba Ikram on the last day of Sha'ban al-Mu'adham. But inshallah that also we'll have opportunity to listen one more khutbah, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, next week. So inshallah we'll discuss regarding that. But before that, I have recited a portion of verse from the Quran in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And worship Allah and associate no one with Him, and be good to parents. It's a very important message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Holy Quran many places. Whenever He mentioned that worship Allah, do not associate with anyone, do not commit shirk, do not do kufr. The same time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the respect and revere and ta'zeem of parents. After the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the rights of parents are important. After the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the maqam is the rights of parents. When you believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the finality, prophethood of the beloved of Allah, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, then the respect of parents applies. It is duty bound to respect and revere our parents. Once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive your rights, but if you fail to fulfill the rights of parents, then you cannot get forgiveness wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive you. Nowadays, many of us, They fulfill the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They practice ibadat, they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They make excessive umrahs and charity, etc., etc. But they fail to fulfill the rights of parents. But they fail to fulfill the rights of siblings. But they are not good with their own brothers and sisters. And they fail to fulfill the rights of relatives and family members. They fail to fulfill the rights of neighbors. And they are neglectful to fulfill the rights of mother and father especially. I would like to mention one small hadith very briefly so you will understand what is the maqam of parents, what is the status of parents. Even your parents are not Muslims, non-Muslims, but you must be kind to them, you must be Rafiq and Shafiq to them. You have to respect them and look after them. And another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Uff. You know, say, oh, uff. Oh no, man. Maybe when you're going somewhere and your parents, your father or mother tell you, please go to the shop and bring a loaf of bread. You say, oh no, man. There's also the disrespect of your parents. There's also, it will count that the disobedient of your parents. Even if you said, no, oh, why you didn't tell me before? Now I'm going to, with my friends, I'm going to mention this or that or work or whatever. Why didn't you tell me before? You feel bad. This is also counted as a disobedient of your parents. And Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says, رِضَى اللَّهِ فِي رِضَى الْوَالِدَيْنِ. The pleasure of Allah lies in the pleasure of your parents. Subhanallah. Shaykh Hassan, please come forward. This children, this boy can go at the back, please. Small children, sit at the back. MAULANA Hassan, please. Read Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad al-Ma'adil al-Judi wal-Karam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. So I said, Rida Allahi fi rida al-walidayn. The pleasure of Allah lies in the pleasure of your parents. Here's one hadith I would like to mention. It is mentioned in Muslim Sharif. That this hadith is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. From Abu Hurairah, Imam Muhammad bin Sirin rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi narrates. So basically, حدثنا زهير بن حرب حدثنا يزيد بن هارون أخبرنا جرير بن حازم حدثنا محمد بن سيرين عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه. This is the chain of narration. I will go some other tangent. Who is Muhammad bin Sirin? Who narrating hadith from Abu Hurairah directly. Muhammad bin Sirin is the colleague of Imam Hassan al-Basri. And they both are resting in Basra, same place. Sayyidina Imam Hassan al-Basri, and by his feet, the grave of Muhammad bin Sirin is there. And very famous tabi'een. Unfortunately, our people don't know who is Muhammad bin Hassan al-Basri. Everybody knows our youth about Ronaldo and this and that. But they don't know Sahaba and who's tabi'een. Anyways, some other time. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Okay, I don't have time to read full Arabic also and English translation. I will summarize is better because I don't have time, only 3 minutes left. There was a person in Bani Israel who was very pious and worshipper by the name of Jurayj. By the name of Jurayj. This hadith will show us the respect of mother, respect of parents actually, but respect of mother here especially. The Jurayj was a very pious man. So he built a place of worship for him, devoted to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he built a place of worship and he used to worship in that place and he used to live there. But Banu Israel, we call Israel, the Banu Israel, they could not see that people are following Jurayj. They respect him, they revere him because he's a very pious man. Because, Banu Israel, they always wanted to deceive people and create fitnas. It's very famous. So they wanted to destroy the respect of Jurayj. And they hired one lady, and that prostitute, she was a prostitute, and she offered and she said, okay, if you give me money, I will attract him towards me and I will put him in zina or mazal and sin. They had an agreement. She went to Jurayj, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He was a wali of Allah. And Jurayj, he did not look at her. He was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And she failed to attract Jurayj towards her. But she went to a shepherd and she committed zina and she fell pregnant. And when she gave birth to a child, so all Banu Israel and his people got together. They came to Jurayj by his place of worship and they called him down. And they accused him and they said, no, you are the person who committed zina and this is your baby. They started beating him. They started hitting him. After that, Jurayj said, oh, wait, don't hit. Let me read 2 rakat. Let me read salah 2 rakat, ibadat. I'll worship and after that I will sort it out. Okay, before that I would like to explain more why this happened. So once Jurayj was making ibadat, once he was making ibadat, he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his mother came and said, Ya Jurayj. So he was reading salah, he was praying. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh my Lord, my mother or prayer? So he continued worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he did not respond to his mother and mother went away. 3 days continuously mother came and she called and he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he did not respond to his mother and every time he said, oh Allah, oh my Lord, my mother or my prayer? What must I choose? So he chose worship, he chose ibadat. And when mother 3rd time came and he never responded to her call, then she said, oh Allah, do not let him die until he see a face of prostitute. You can say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Say Allahu Akbar. Yeah, his mother's dua. He was reading ibadah, he was making ibadah, and she came and called 3 times, 3 days, and he was worshipping and he chose worship. But mother, 3rd day, mother said, oh Allah, do not let him die until he sees a face of prostitute. And this happened and people accused him. So he remembered, oh, 3 days my mother came and never responded to her call. Definitely this azab because of disobeying to my mother. Because of the disobedience to my mother. Now look at one side, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ibadat, he was reading salah. Worshipping, he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and another side his mother. Your aql, your mind will worship of Allah is greater than anything. So obviously everyone comes after that, but no my dear, but this is definitely a greater ibadat and worship. But same time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when your mother calls you, When your father calls you, you must respond to your mother's call. You must respond to your father's call. So here, not about worshipping. You're supposed to leave worship and say, Labbaik, ya ummi, labbaik. Yes, my mother, what you want? Allah. But Junaid did not do that. He chose worship over the mother's call. And mother's dua was accepted. Now imagine why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the dua of mother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that he's worshipping me. I'm the Lord of everyone. But no, he wanted to show us the respect of your parents. If you fail to fulfill the rights of your parents, I can forgive my rights, but I will not forgive the rights of your parents. Allahu Akbar. Same thing happened as he realized. Then he repented. He said, no, forgive me. Another story says that he went, same time he said, people, okay, wait, let me go to my mother. He went to mother and said, Mother, please make me maaf. Forgive me. What your dua is accepted. Maybe you make dua for me. Then accepted, and now we see this. Mother said, okay, Allah forgive you. I also forgive you. Then he came to the baby, that small child. You know those who are accusing that this is your baby. He poked with the finger the stomach of baby. He poked. And said, who's your father? He told the baby, small baby. You know, like maybe 2-3 days or 4 days baby. He poked finger and said, tell who's your father. So the small baby said, so-and-so shepherd is my father, Junaid is not my father. There are 3 children, infant, I can say, 3 infant who spoke in cradle. In hadith says, the same Muslim Sharif hadith, 3 small children, infant who spoke in the cradle. Number 1, Nabi Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. Who? Say loudly, children, please say loudly, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Remember this all this. Nabi Isa, number 1. Number 2 is the same son, same boy. According to different narration, another child was told, I mentioned further this, that one mother was feeding a baby, and there was a person very handsome and very good and looking, and so the mother said, oh Allah, make my child like him. So he left the breast of mother and looked like him. Don't make me like him. And after some time, she passed by one person, one female slave. People were accusing her and they were hitting her that you committed zina and you stole things from our house. So mother said, oh Allah, do not make my son like her. So he left the breast and looked at that lady, female slave, and made, oh Allah, make me like her. So apparently that boy was very good, but that small child said to mother, oh my mother, that person is a tyrant, looking very nice, but he's a tyrant. But that female slave who was accused of zina and stealing, but she is a very pious woman. She never committed zina, she never stole anything. So anyways, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us tawfiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us hidayah. And remember, respect your parents, otherwise you're making ibadah in the month of Ramadan, there's no use. So before the month of Ramadan arrives, please go to your parents. Ask maaf from them. Even they are wrong, but you fulfill your rights. Even if parents are wrong, you no need to look at their mistakes. They are answered in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have to go and respect your parents and kiss their feet and ask maaf for raising your voice, talking bad, and not behaving properly to your mother and father. Go and ask them. Then your ibadat of Ramadan and fasting and Taraweeh and Tasbih and Quran, you look very pious and very holy. But you are devil. Yes, I'm telling you, you look very pious, but inside with your mother and father, you are devil. So go and ask your mom, then your holiness will be accepted, then you will be regarded as a holy and pious man in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, my dear, you're making fool to yourself. Ask your parents. If your parents are not alive, what do you have to do? Give charity on your father's name. Make sadaqah on your father's name. When they will receive reward, they will be pleased with you in their graves, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. Make dua, make Quran, read Quran for them. Make charity, you give sadaqah on their behalf, so they will be pleased with you in their graves. Otherwise, there is no use, my brothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, worship me, do not associate me with anyone with me. Do not associate with me anyone. And respect your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Don't even say oof and ifs and buts to your parents. Then everything will be okay, inshallah, and your ibadat will be accepted. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us on right path and grant all of us tawfiq, inshallah. And inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, first 15 days, we are Taraweeh, Isha Namaz, Isha Adhan will be 8 o'clock. And Jamaat will be 8:15, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala. And after that, inshallah, we will change Isha time according to the weather and according to the time. Jazakumullah. Please offer your sunnah. Assalamu alaikum.